What's up, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. The season is over. Players returned to Halas Hall today for exit interviews. They also spoke to the media, including Caleb Williams. So want to react to some of that as we put a bow on the 2025 Chicago Bears season. Guys, a lot of new subscribers this year. You guys crushed it. Next milestone, 156,000. The offseason is here, and if you want offseason coverage every single day, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button. We'll be here every single day covering it all for you. All right, players sounding off. Caleb Williams last night spoke to the media today, and I got to say, very mature in his press conferences, handled everything really well after an emotional loss like that. He talked about what he's looking to improve at most this offseason, and here's what he had to say. He said, work on accuracy and footwork. I'll get with the receivers and work with them throughout the offseason so that we're on the same page, so we're starting off hot for training camp OTAs and then going into next season. And look, I think Caleb is a very self-aware individual. He grew in a lot of areas this year. We will talk about those in a second. The next step is just overall consistency, is throughout the course of the game, throughout the course of the season, how can he just be more steady, right? Get that completion percentage up. You know, a lot of that is just not taking bad sacks and this and that, but certainly there were throws throughout the course of the season that he's capable of making that he just did not at times. Hopefully the Bears don't lead the NFL in drops again, but that's for building that chemistry in the offseason, getting work in before OTAs. Those reps kind of add up over the course of the offseason, entering year two in Ben Johnson's offense. He improved in a lot of key areas this year, and those are a couple areas that he'll look to improve at in year three. I think these are all areas that Caleb improved in this year. The pre-snap operation, from week one to the divisional round, night and day. I mean, the amount of canning of plays at the line of scrimmage, checking things at the line, the pre-snap penalties basically disappeared as the season went on. He started to take full control of this offense under Ben Johnson, and it was still only year one. Next year, he could even take more steps forward in that, in terms of, just the operation of the offense. The post-snap reads. I thought for the most part this year, and really even last year, Caleb, his eyes are in the right spot, and he's mostly a good decision maker. Now, occasionally he will force a pass because he has supreme arm talent, and he thinks he can fit one into every window. An example of that last night was when he was, drifting to the right sideline and he kind of tried to sidearm one into traffic. That was ill-advised, but for the most part, he's making the right reads and right decisions. It's just to the point of what he talked about, the overall accuracy. If he gets better there, he's going to make even more plays. The deep ball was so much improved this year. I mean, it was awful last year, one of the worst in the league, and this year it was well above average. So created a lot more explosives. They generated the most explosives in the NFL, and a lot of that was due to the downfield accuracy from Caleb Williams. The biggest improvement from a just play standpoint, not like the pre-snap stuff, the cerebral stuff, was the sack avoidance. He went from taking his pressure to sack rate last year was 28%, dead last in the NFL. This year, I think it was under 10. It was remarkable how much it improved. Overall sacks went from 68 to like 24. Obviously, the offensive line is much improved, but Caleb just did a much better job of not taking sacks. And then I think he grew a lot as a leader. Just listen to him at the podium, being demanding during these games of his teammates. Listen to his teammates talk about him. Like he's earned their respect. And, when he first got here, he was asked about leadership, and he's like, well, first, I got to listen. I got to learn from guys who have been here, vets on this team. This year, he took that step forward and came one of the dudes, one of the leaders of this team, and that's what you expect of a number one overall pick at quarterback. So the jump from year one to year two is real. If he takes another step forward, year two to year three, improves in the areas he's going to be really focused on, which is footwork and accuracy, and those really tie together. I mean, you've got a superstar in the making. You're not there yet. He has superstar talent. He's had superstar flashes, but to be a true superstar, you got to be more consistent, and he's not quite there yet, but you can see it happening. You can see it unfolding. It's about taking that year two to year three jump, year one to year two jump in this Ben Johnson system, and I have a lot of faith and confidence that he's going to do that. Okay, Caleb Williams on his overtime interception, because that's obviously been a big talking point. What happened between he and DJ Moore? He said it was just a miscommunication, trying just to flatten him off on the safety since the other safety was down. I felt like we had enough space over there. Ben Johnson said that as well last night, so I tried to flatten him off. It was just a miscommunication. His route is to go deep and attack that angle, which he did. I think Caleb's being generous there. He's not going to throw DJ under the bus. I thought it was kind of a jogging route, but that's neither here nor there. We thought we were going to go under the safety at that point. It didn't happen that way. So what Caleb is saying there, and I think he's being honest, is the route DJ ran, in terms of at least the directionality of it, again, the effort, not turning around, that's a different thing. He was not sprinting. I don't know what was going on there. That's probably the design of the route, even if it was kind of a lazy, poor route. But all these plays against certain coverages, they all have rules. And sometimes in football, you just kind of have to play with feel. And Caleb thought in that spot, based on what he saw, and he was right, doesn't mean DJ made some unacceptable, catastrophic mistake to not flatten it out. I would say the effort overall wasn't acceptable, but he trusted DJ to flatten that out at about the 30-yard line, kind of at a 90-degree angle toward the sideline, and he threw to that spot. And if you complete that pass, you're in field goal range, and you're going to have a kick to win the game. And it didn't happen that way, like he said. It's not completely one guy's fault. I think Caleb, that does show the growth of like, hey, I'm going to throw this to a spot that's not necessarily what the design of the play is, because I'm reading the coverage. And I trust that my $28 million receiver is going to feel the leverage and the coverage the same way. And unfortunately, he didn't. And the guy made a great play on it. Cam Curl, diving interception, and the Bears lost. So something to learn from. You know, maybe you don't take that chance in that situation, but I think he trusted DJ Moore, and it didn't pay off in that situation. So it's unfortunate for it to happen at that time because it was such a high leverage situation. But I think it's a rep you bank, and next time in that situation, it'll work out better. Caleb also just kind of, his appreciation of the season, saying, I'm proud of our guys. I appreciate the city of Chicago. I appreciate the Bears organization. And I truly appreciate the coaches, their sacrifice, and obviously my teammates. And, I think it's been a real thing this year is the buy-in to this team, to this city. It's been really cool to see because, it just didn't go well last year. Him and Eberflus clearly never vibed. Him and Waldron really didn't vibe. And I think there was a lack of trust. Like, can I develop here? And you bring in Ben Johnson, it changes everything. And you saw how the city rallied around this guy. Kevin Byard said it last night. He said he's electrified the city with his play, with his moments, with his clutchness, and the city has rallied behind Caleb Williams. And, you could feel it. You could feel like this guy could be the next superstar in this town. He's close. But it's about becoming more consistent. I think Caleb's aware of that. And, again, that's the next step heading into year 3 is, tightening those screws, improving the little details even more, and being laser focused from snap 1 to snap 70 in these games. And, if he can do all those things, then the Bears could have something special here. Show QB1 some love. Get the 18s going down in the chat. And show Caleb some love. All right, Rome Odunze also spoke to the media. I thought he handled himself well today after obviously having some big errors last night. We'll tell you what he said coming up here in just a moment. But this episode of Chicago Bears Now is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. Find your community on Prize Picks. With the new social feeds feature, you could share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tailor-fade our picks with just one click. If you search at @HGramNFL, you'll find my lineups right there. Pick more, pick less on the stat projections available. I got a 2-player lineup for this upcoming weekend. Matthew Stafford, I'll take more on his pass attempts. They've been throwing it a lot during the playoffs. And I'll take more on Sam Darnold's rushing yards as well. I think he will find a couple of key scrambles in this game. So give me more than 7.5 rushing yards. $20 lineup to win $60. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Okay, Rome Odunze, here's what he had to say on his season. He said, I got to step through and proceed to be a catalyst to this team's success, and I didn't feel like I did that well enough this season. At the end of the day, I got to go back to the drawing board, try to look at my routine and things I need to change to be the player I need to be. Look, Rome has all the tools. He can run the route tree. His skill set is one who can make contested catches, although he did not do that well this year, so he's got to get back to being better at the point of attack. He's just got to get the foot healthy, which he said he's not going to have surgery on. So we'll see if that heals naturally. I guess we'll see how that goes. But I still have a lot of belief in him as a player. I mean, the first month of this season, it felt like he was going to be an all-pro. And then a couple not great plays crept in. Then the foot gets injured. He misses time. It just kind of unraveled. And I give him a lot of credit for coming back and playing in the playoffs through a stress fracture in his foot. But that doesn't excuse that drop of the goal line. He knows that. He acknowledged that. He had another key drop later in the game that would have been a first down. He's just, he's a good player that can be great. Will he be great? He's got the ability. We know that. We've seen it. But it's kind of like the Caleb thing. It's about being more consistent as a player overall. And guess what? If he's more consistent, that helps Caleb be more consistent because some of these balls aren't dropped. So I think those two are going to put a lot of work in together. We'll see how much he's got to rehab and rest that foot for it to be fully right. Hopefully he's ready to go by OTAs. Jason Leisure having the note that Rome reiterates that he doesn't need surgery. So there's been mixed opinions on that. And, these Twitter doctors, who knows? They don't have access to what the Bears have access to. But, yeah, we'll see if that's the right call or not. But if he's healthy, I still think he can be a big-time playmaker for this team. Okay, Darnell Wright also spoke to the media, and he is now contract extension eligible, and I thought he had a hell of a year. Second-team All-Pro at right tackle. Chris Emma tweeting that Wright enters the chance to negotiate a contract extension with the Bears. He said, quote, I would love to be on this team for my whole career for sure. That would be great. I would imagine that the Bears and Darnell Wright's representation get to the negotiating table this offseason and work something out. He's earned an extension. He was good as a rookie. He took a step forward last year, and this year he took a big leap. Good fit in this system. Ben Johnson said when he took the job, he reminds him of Penei Sewell with his size and athleticism combo. He is really good in the run game. He's improved a lot as a pass protector. He's good in pass pro as well. He played this year with torn ligaments in his elbow and he played 98% of the snaps. He missed one game. So he's tough. He plays through stuff, and he's really good. I think that's a guy you pay. You look at some of the highest paid tackles. These are the left tackles, 28 to 28 million or 22 to 28 million there. I think a guy like Bernard Raymond, he's certainly better than Christian Darrisaw is a good comp. Darrisaw was injured this year, obviously, for a lot of it, but I think the talents are similar. But obviously, this is a couple years later now, so with the cap going up, he's probably going to clear that price tag. Highest paid right tackles. I mean, is he going to unseat Penei Sewell? I would think at minimum he becomes the second highest paid right tackle, which means I think he's getting at least $26 million. And look, that's the cost of an elite tackle, man. Like, cost of doing business. You've still got his fourth year left and his fifth year option, so you could spread out the money if you do it properly. So if you can get him on a reasonable deal this offseason, I think that's a no-brainer. I think that's a big hit in the draft for Ryan Poles. And, that was relatively bold at the time. A lot of people liked other tackles in that draft better than Darnell Wright. People like Broderick Jones better. Paris Johnson went earlier, but people liked him better. And Darnell's been the best one out of all of them. So we got to give Poles credit for that. Everybody ripped him for passing on Jalen Carter, who's obviously been really good in Philadelphia. But Darnell Wright's a really good player in his own right. So that's turning out to be a really good draft pick. Okay, Jaquan Brisker, we hit on him a little bit earlier. Does he get an extension? Does he not? He followed up with the media again today and, talked about last night's loss. He said, I hate losing. It could have been my last time in a Bears uniform. Obviously, I wanted to soak that in, embracing the locker room, embracing everything. I don't know what could be in the future. And look, if this is it, Brisker went out with a bang. I mean, what a performance. I thought he was the Bears' best defensive player last night. He led the team in tackles. He had a huge sack. He ended a drive on his own. He had a sack, a TFL, and a pass breakup on 3 consecutive plays. And on that breakup, he was one-on-one with Puka Nacua. I mean, that is a hell of a series. He played awesome last night. But the reality is for the Bears, they have big decisions to make in their secondary. Kevin Byard's also a free agent. Nahshon Wright's also a free agent. You've got CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's a free agent. You got other positions on your defense that you're looking to invest money into. Your top 2 backups, Jonathan Owens and Elijah Hicks, are free agents. You're not going to bring all these guys back. You're probably going to bring back one of Byard or Brisker and, maybe 1 or 2 of these other guys, but that's probably at most. They probably want to get younger and faster in certain spots too. I think adding speed to this secondary is going to be something Dennis Allen wants because it felt like a lot, especially down the stretch, that the Bears were a step slow. Now, not against the Rams. They held up well, and I said it throughout the week. The one thing that benefits the Bears in this matchup against the Rams, even though they have 2 elite receivers, neither are really burners. Nacua and Devontae are not these twitchy burners, and I think we saw that play out. The Bears covered well, and Nahshon Wright was better. Brisker was able to hold up in the back end. Tyreek Stevenson had a good game, so I think that ended up being a pretty decent matchup for the Bears secondary, but a lot of these teams have these Jameson Williams of the world, Jordan, just these twitchy players, and you need more speed on the back end to slow these guys down. So I think that's going to be an emphasis for Chicago. And then lastly, Kevin Byard, who obviously 2 years here now. That's been a really good signing. Veteran, leader, had a great year this year. First team All-Pro, led the NFL in interceptions. He wants to come back. He said earlier today, he said, we got a franchise QB. That's the hardest thing to find. That's going to attract people here. So you do wonder, too, as time goes on, free agents, guys on the trade market, does Chicago now become more of a destination? Because they have this exciting young ascending team now. And, Byard, I think, provides that veteran leadership that you're looking for. I thought he had an awesome year. 7 picks, 8 breakups. I thought he tackled well this year in space, made some big plays last night. The reality is you're probably only going to be able to keep Byard or Brisker. And if you're asking me, I'm probably keeping Byard. I like Jaquan. I thought he finished the year strong. He was certainly excellent last night, but the totality of this year, clearly Kevin Byard clears. And even though he's an older player, I think he would have to lean in that direction. Matt Zahn saying this, that with Byard set to be a free agent, Kevin Byard said there's, quote, mutual interest in a return, understands the Bears and Poles will do what's best for the team, and he'll do what's best for his family, but the first option will be to come back to Chicago and finish what we started. So, Byard's had a great career. A Super Bowl is lacking on his resume. He leads the NFL in interceptions since entering the league in 2016. So, I think he'd love to play here another year or two and, play 2-3 more years in his career and wrap it up. And I'd love to have him back. I think he's been great for this team, and I thought this year he was really, really good. All right, pick one to keep. If you got to keep one, who are you keeping? Type KB for Kevin Byard or JB for Jaquan Brisker. Drop your comments in the comment section down below. Last one here, Adam Johns, who has a good pulse for the locker room. He's in the building almost every day, saying the most common theme in the Bears locker room on cleanout day. The Bears have a quarterback in Caleb Williams and a head coach in Ben Johnson that you should believe in. The locker room definitely does. That alone proves that this year was a supreme success. If we were told at the end of the 2025 season that Caleb Williams is a guy we feel really good about, that Ben Johnson is a guy we feel really good about, and the people in that locker room feel good about both those guys, that's a success. And then you add in, you won 11 games in the regular season, you won a playoff game, you won the division. This season can't be viewed as anything other than a huge success, and now it's about building on it. Every season's different. Ben Johnson said himself, there's not much momentum carryover from year to year in the NFL. It's a new team. It's a new story every year. But you've got a lot of the ingredients in place. And if you can add some more ingredients that can help, pick the right guys to do that. And if some of your young talent, starting with Caleb Williams, continue to improve, then you really have a chance to have something special here. So I'm excited to see what's to unfold in the offseason. I'm sad the season's over, but it was an awesome journey. And there's a chance this is just the beginning for the Chicago Bears. All All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Players off to, vacation now. And, we'll get back together in the springtime. So subscribe and bear down.